Let's go back in time.
Hi there, pop pickers.
Fluff, of course.
Anyway, we'll know how things are popping next Sunday at 5, and I hope you'll all be around to enjoy the sound of Pick of the Pops. Until then, this is your pop keeper Don Moss saying have a lovely swinging week, and of course, take care.
The New Seekers at number 3, while Mary Osmond goes up one place to number 2.
Tom Brown.
5 o'clock for the first time.
Radio 1, the new Top 40.
Compiled by the British Market Research Bureau, it's the new Top 40 with Earth, Wind and Fire down 3.
And hello and welcome along. I hope that you're having a really lovely Sunday, and I hope that you've got a couple of hours to spare. And welcome to listeners on VHF who have just joined Radio 1 for the Top 40, and I hope for the rest of the evening as well. And don't forget, you can hear the nation's top chart show in Super Stereo on VHF. And this is the Top 40.
Welcome to listeners on VHF who've just joined Radio 1, not only for the Top 40, but for the rest of the evening as well. Do not forget that you can hear the nation's top chart show right now, I can't even say it, Top 40, in Super Stereo on VHF.
Tommy Vance, this week's Top 40.
Sunday the 24th of February, and this is Britain's top chart rundown. Richard Skinner with the UK Top 40 in stereo.
Those great names presenting the Top 40, but perhaps the greatest name to ever do the chart countdown on a Sunday afternoon is Bruno Brookes. Bruno, good afternoon.
Oh, what an intro that was. I'm taken aback, thank you. And great to hear all those other voices, you know, it's just taken me back sort of, well, to when I was probably 10, 11, 12 years of age, you know, sort of listening to the Top 40 for the first time. Just amazing, yeah.
Now it's shifted to Friday. I mean, you're part of a very elite club, aren't you, of radio people, of people who shaped the generations?
I think that's a fair comment. I mean, it's not something I think about every day, but in context, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, very, very few radio shows are institutional in that, you know, it becomes part of the British culture for such a long time. The Archers have been one, you know, the Top 40 would be another. So I'm very privileged to have been there for 8 years on the Top 40, yeah.
It was 1985, if memory serves right, that you did the first chart rundown. What was it like being told by the bosses that, you know, Sunday afternoon, you're going to reveal the chart, the singles, everybody's been buying, massive audience?
I was just over the moon because, in fact, that was one of the things I wanted to try and achieve when I first got to Radio 1. I remember when I was at Radio Stoke, and I first started my career there with a Sunday afternoon kind of teenage thing, and that went up to 5 o'clock, and then I think it was 5 o'clock or probably even 4 o'clock at that time, and Tony Blackburn took over, and I always used to say to myself, God, I'd love to do what Tony Blackburn's doing that one day, you know. And then I found myself being asked to do it, and you can't imagine that it was sort of a bit fairy tale for me. But, you know, I kind of thought straight away, you know, this is really me, this kind of radio. I love energy radio, and so I thought, right, how am I going to try and make this, you know, even more exciting? And so very privileged.
We've got a little clip of you. I mean, when you go and do a job day in, day out, yes, you still enjoy doing it, but the nerves sort of like calm down just a little bit. And, you know, people say to radio presenters, oh, it must be really nervous. Well, you get used to it like any job. But for you, sat in the studio with the Greenwich time signal going to 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and then you launch
the official Top 40 in stereo FM, Britain's favourite Radio 1.
It's exactly 5 o'clock. Good afternoon, this is Bruno Brookes, live in London with a brand new Top 40. Now, our direct computer link with Gallup headquarters tells us the news as it comes in.
Even just starting, there must have been just a tingle down the spine, electricity in the air.
Was that my first show, was it?
I think it was, yeah.
Wow.
I've raided the archive.
I was going to say, where have you got this stuff from? You got more than I have. Well, to answer your question, I was very, very nervous. I put in a lot of prep that day, and I remember having discussions with the producers earlier in the week in terms of, you know, where we were going to go with this, because I changed all the opening script, changed a lot of things, and I just wanted to make it my own, and just and that's what happened. But no, I was really nervous when I met Mike. You're not wrong there.
And, I mean, the audience was massive. The chart was incredible. I mean, the front cover of the Radio Times as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't remember exactly what that was for. I think that was where we all went digital or something like that. But no, that was an honour as well. Our audience, I think I think our largest audience was 16 million. That was one Christmas. I think the average was about 11.5 to 12.5 at one stage every Sunday. I believe we had something like 4 million people on average taping the show every Sunday with those two fingers. The music industry weren't very happy about that, because they thought I was encouraging people to actually to tape the show. No, I wasn't encouraging them. I just simply knew it was happening. And so if it's happening, just make it a bit easier. It was slightly different. And in any case, it wasn't illegal, because you can tape from the radio legally. And I think you legally are able to share it with 4 or 5 people, not just from an iTunes track. So, yeah.
But you must have known that up and down the land there were teenagers with their fingers over play and record, and they knew how you'd done the chart, because you'd done it for a couple of years now. They knew how you were going to introduce the next song, so they could lift paws off it straight away. You must have thought, I'm going to play a game here. I'm just going to say something else just there. I'll drop something in there.
No, it's all
ruin the recording.
I'm not like that. But put Liz Kershaw next to me, and I would be like that.
Oh, right.
No, not when it comes to the top 40. But not at all. I think that's the point. I created a format, I think, that where the audience very quickly realised that this is not going to change. I know exactly when to press those two buttons, and also towards the end of the song there was enough of a fade, and I think people even got used to that. I've been doing a lot of interviews on this today, and almost everybody I've spoken to as said, I was one of those that recorded the top 40. But and by the way, the late 80s and early 90s, when the CD disc came out, remember the CD singles?
Yeah,
they cost £3.25 then. That was expensive. I mean, that was then. I mean, now we're paying 99p. So, ever likely, so many people wanted to record it.
That's we're all hard up. That's why we're all hard up. What do you think of the chart actually moving to Friday now from Sunday? Because there is there's a piece of broadcasting history and music history now gone. It is consigned to the history book now.
Well, I actually think it's later than it should have been done earlier. That's what I'm trying to say, because over the last 10 years, because of the internet, because of the mobile device and everything we're able to consume in any way, shape or form, particularly music, where everybody was interested in 40 songs and hopefully a new number one, we've now got 40 million at our fingertips. And what it's done for the music industry is it's actually opened up opportunities for artists that probably haven't sold music for a long time to discover a new audience. And the new generation are all about discovery. They're all about discovering all sorts of music. And I'm not amazed, actually, that a lot of the younger generation now are actually choosing to buy older music. So particularly the 80s, which has got to be, the best music decade ever as far as I'm concerned. But even back to the 70s and the 60s, the Beatles are selling, old Rolling Stones, the Kinks. These are all cool bands in a new world. So from that perspective, that's not going to change. That's just purely the progression of life. Technology has allowed that. And as for the chart being on Friday, well, there has to be a reflection of what's happening in terms of what's selling most. And the other thing you've got to remember here, this is not just for the listener, this is also for the artists and the writers themselves, because they must have a target, they must have a bullseye, and the bullseye can only be number one. So they're also excited about the fact that they can listen to the show on Friday now, and hope that they're getting closer to the top spot. And it's a good spot in many respects because, you know, the weekend's coming up, and, you know, music is one of those things that you tend to feel good about listening to as you approach the weekend. So
it's about time it happened. It should have happened sooner.
Yeah, I think.
Just a couple more questions, if we may. You did the top 40 rundown. You did the complete rundown that lasted something like about 5 minutes, from 40 down to number one, and then play the number one. When you listen back to tapes of that, you're really motoring. That must have taken a lot of energy. You must have been absolutely shattered by the end of those 2 hours.
I was every show. I was shattered. It was quite draining. It took a lot of energy. And you see, it's not just a question of saying those words and punching them out the way I did on that countdown. Really, the energy and the thought process, and, you know, the processing of the brain was really in the timing of being able to put all these words in the right place without crashing anything, and also to a very specific time, which was the timing of the backing track. So, yeah, it wasn't easy, but with a bit of practice, I got through it. But you know, it was draining. Yeah.
And was it sad to give the chart show up, to pass it on, the baton on to somebody new? After, I mean, you defined it for the generation. You ask a lot of radio presenters their favourite chart show host, and it will be you. You ask a lot of people on the street, top 40 chart on Radio 1, they will say Bruno Brookes. Was it hard to say, right, I've done my time, it's time to move on now?
Well, there was a break. I think I did it for 2 or 3 years, a little break, came back and did it for a longer period of time, with 8 years all in total. But when they asked me to move on, I think it was Mark that took over, Mark Goodyear. I was a bit surprised because the ratings, you know, were what they were. They were superb, and they have something in their broadcasting called the RI, which is the reaction index, and it's a score of 100, and that was 97. Wow. You know, so I was a bit confused, but I was glad to get it back. I just felt it was my show. I really did.
We've got the very last link that you ever did on the chart.
Oh,
do you want to hear it?
Right. Got it. So you played me the first one. I'm now going to hear the last one. 8 years in 8 minutes.
Has a brand new number one, Maria McKee and Show Me Heaven. You have a new presenter on the Top 40 next week, Mark Goodyear. The UK Top 40 was computer compiled by Gallup, and the show was produced by George Ergatudis. This has been Bruno Brookes, completing 5 years of smash hits on your radio every Sunday. Yes, this is my last show. Thank you for your letters and your calls, especially Darren Putz in Penzance. Thank you for your support in making this Europe's number one show. So I'm hanging up the mic. Until next time, whatever you're doing tonight, have a nice night.
Who's Darren Putz?
Was Darren Potts?
Yeah.
No, I think he probably phoned the BBC and got through and said something nice, and I just wanted to make his day.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No, great times. Great times.
Good to talk to you. Thank you so much for celebrating the chart and coming on with us here at BBC Tees. And as a radio geek and anorak, it's great to have you on the show.
John, it's been an absolute pleasure, and hello to all of your listeners from me. Have a great weekend. Keep up the good work.
And whatever you're doing tonight,
have a nice night.
Bruno Brookes. Action Radio. Radio 1.
Such an anorak, aren't I, on the quiet? I'm such an anorak. Right, let's see what's happening out and about on the roads. Any problems?
It's looking okay, really, for this time on a Friday. John, if you're out and about on the A19...